Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Guide to the Attack on Titan Tribute game. My host is your name, SNK Tailex, and we're first going to be talking about awareness. So here I have the do's and do nots that we discussed from the previous episode, and we're going to be referring to these throughout the remainder of this episode, and even speed when we get to it. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's quickly go over the core of what I'm talking about when it comes to awareness. You need to be aware of all the titans that are behind you as well as those in front of you. If you can be aware of all the titans within your area, then you stand a better chance at surviving, obviously because they might try to kill you. So you need to know if they're going to do that, right? And there's a second type of awareness I'm going to briefly talk about. When you're aware of yourself, how focused you are, when you're aware whether you're zoning out or not, is a completely different thing. Some speed players or some people who are playing in Forest I see die because they're killing and they just zone out. Like, have you ever heard of road hypnosis or highway hypnosis? When there's a long stretch of road and it's easy driving, you're just going down a long stretch of road, but then people lose focus, so then they swerve to the side and they crash. That's exactly what happens when you play Forest or you kill Titans or something. You might zone out because it's just one after the other, it's hypnotic. So for the road solution, what they do is they either make you take turns or they have road signs to keep you aware or awake. So for yourself, if you're playing, you might consider knocking yourself in the head every once in a while, or just trying to think of something else. I don't know, just gotta get your head in the game, boy. It's really easy to tell you that, yeah, you shouldn't hit the shoulder, you should hit the nape, right? Like that's what killing Titans accurately means. But there's more to accuracy than just killing Titans. It means accurate maneuvering. When you're playing, you may encounter obstacles like trees, houses, or even Titans, like Titan bodies. And if you find yourself slamming into these things a lot, then it probably means you're maneuvering inaccurately. And if you ever find yourself getting into these situations, then of course you should practice getting out of them as fast as possible. To overcome this, I recommend training in Forest Survival. However, I'm also going to give you 2 additional activities you can practice. If you're fairly new, then you should race in Akina and try to reach the 70s. This will teach you how to be more precise in your maneuvering, and you'll even gain some reflexes and muscle memory for pragmatic situations while maneuvering at a fast pace. For an exercise more applicable to our goal, I recommend hitting as high a damage as you can on a single Titan in Forest without reeling. I recommend not using your reel because then you could just stay in one spot and reel until you're as fast as you want to be. Not using your reel for damage will force you to understand how to maneuver around obstacles, as well as how to strategize your attack on Titans without crashing. One more tip, I recommend learning to use gas burst effectively if you ever feel like you're about to slam into something. It really helps a lot. When you become aware of your surroundings and yourself, when you become accurate when you kill Titans, you're consistent, and when you're able to maneuver accurately, then you can start to strategize your survival. The best frame of mind to have is that you're not here to fight one Titan. You're here to fight many Titans. Therefore, you should be thinking several steps ahead. If you remain in control of your situation, if you can manipulate Titans and their position so that you can keep yourself at an advantage, then you stand a much better chance at survival than someone, for example, who's improvising as they go. Here's a good example of one strategy I can give you. I had my student, Shorty, sit in different parts of the forest to see how fast a horde accumulated when you stand in different parts of the forest. For this first one, I had him stand off to the side, and it's sped up right now, but it took about a minute for all the Titans to reach him. And as you can see there's the last Titan. Okay, and then I had him move to the other side of the map, in the other part of the forest. And same thing, it took around 50 seconds, or otherwise a minute, before all the Titans accumulated. And we did many tests of this. It usually ended up being around 40 seconds to around 50 or 60 seconds, right? Here, one more Titan coming over there. There he comes. All right. So it took a while for the Titans to accumulate, right? But then watch when he stands in the center of the map. All of the Titans have a much shorter distance to run to, therefore they accumulate the fastest. And I think actually this one only took about 26 seconds or 28 seconds, so basically half a minute. So if you're looking to slow down or stop the accumulation of hordes, then your best bet would be to strategize and stay away from the center. Survivability in most cases is an endurance test. You need to stay aware and avoid dangers while still killing Titans. So, what happens when you're not just facing one single Titan after another single Titan? What happens when you're facing a group of Titans, clusters, hordes? The truth is that hordes kill everyone. They're almost impossible unless you're a veteran player. And even then, if you're not careful, they can still kill you. The reason is because in hordes, Titans have each other's backs, from low to high and from all angles. To overcome these guys, you must have everything that we've discussed so far. Awareness, accuracy, and most importantly, strategy. For starters, you can think of hordes like an onion. You need to peel your way in, starting on the outside and working your way to the center. You could start at the center, but that brings many risks and you could become trapped and die. So here are some suggestions for dealing with hordes, right? You can start at the top and work your way downward to the smaller Titans. When you're up high, you should watch out for jumpers though and big Titans punching or trying to grab you. But it's at least less dangerous than being at the bottom of a horde where they'll try to punch you as well as flop on top of you and do a bunch of other crazy things. If you ever get the chance, you should also kill the stragglers that aren't a part of the horde yet, so that, of course, the horde doesn't become bigger than it already is. Of course, sometimes you'll find other openings on the outer layer of a horde, so for veteran players, a small opening might look like a tiny space where you can perform a linear cut that breaks through the outer layer of a horde. So if you can take down stragglers, if you can find small openings and kill the safest Titans on the outer layer of a horde, you are well on your way to dealing with this giant clusterfuck. But what happens if it becomes too tedious? What happens, for example, if the aberrants just start giving you so many problems and you don't want to deal with the horde directly? Instead of fighting the horde directly, just take your time. Remember, this isn't speed, this is for your survival. Just run to the other side of the map. Let the horde split up. Remember that different sizes and different types of Titans have different speeds. So if you just move away from the horde, by the time one of the Titans reach you, the entire thing will be broken up, I swear. And then it'll be so much easier to kill each Titan individually. If you're trying to break up a horde of jumpers, different from a horde of normal Titans and aberrant Titans, to break up jumpers, you can just move non-linearly in the air. They'll jump straight at you, and as they're leaping, they'll move away from their buddies, and then you can just kill them that way. Also, when they land on the ground, there's usually an animation of them getting back up from the ground, so you can take advantage of that as well. A perfect example of isolating Titans so that you can survive is from a player named Abyssius, who figured out that if you could just slash the eyes, then you could isolate different Titans, and he actually got 404 kills and 0 deaths. He beat Forest 3 twice on Abnormal, back to back. So find a strategy that works for you. Using guns against Titans is actually very effective in terms of survival and facing hordes, because guns, you don't have to be up and close and personal like blades. You can just fly right by the Titans, so you can take down hordes pretty easily without having to endanger yourself. And if you do choose to use AHSS, I recommend using a custom character and then putting everything into acceleration and gas. John's special only really acts as a crutch. In the long run, John isn't as fast as other players, so if you want to become good at the game and be really fast, then you should use a player like Levi or Petra. Lastly, playing multiplayer feels a lot different than playing in single player, not only because of the punks and the crawlers, but also because of the connection issues and the more processes running in the background. So it feels a lot different and even harder than single player to play online. So if you ever train survival, I recommend playing online more than you play offline. But anyways, it's the end of the episode and time for your assignment. In this episode, I gave you a glimpse at how you should handle yourself when you're trying to survive. Now, here's your practice assignment. You need to go to single player, forced survival, and clear all of the waves in forced survival on both normal and then hard difficulty. If you would like to, you can try abnormal, but I only recommend going to wave 10 in abnormal. You can go beyond wave 10, but that's completely optional just because abnormal is so difficult. That's it. Best of luck. Peace. See you next episode.